Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today we're going to be talking about why the Houston Texans need to trade for Cooper Kupp. The Texans must bring in Cooper Kupp this offseason. If the Texans do not re-sign Stephon Diggs at this point, I believe Cooper Kupp is the best option for the Houston Texans as the new wide receiver 2. T. Higgins has now been franchise tagged, and also, Deebo Samuel just got traded to Washington. Chris Godwin could be an option, but I don't think it happens. And but I think the next two best options for the Texans at wide receiver 2 is either re-signing Stephon Diggs or trading for Cooper Kupp. I wouldn't mind either or because, C.J. Stroud in this offense, they're comfortable with Stephon Diggs, but also look at Nick Caley, new offensive coordinator. He's comfortable with Cooper Kupp. That's another thing to look at. I mean, Cooper the new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, came from LA as the passing game coordinator. He is familiar with Cooper Kupp. That would make him more comfortable as the new offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. I think it's great to make a guy like C.J. Stroud more comfortable, but you'd love to see the new OC, first-year offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, more comfortable having a guy that he's very familiar with in his new offense. And look, I don't think there's much of a difference in C.J. Stroud playing with Stephon Diggs compared to Cooper Kupp. They're both great wide receivers, and I think C.J. Stroud's a guy that can adapt quick, and I think when playing with Cooper Kupp, I think it'd be something that C.J. Stroud could adapt quick to. Look, Stephon Diggs was a new wide receiver in his offense last year, and we saw chemistry right away between those two, and their chemistry looked amazing. So it's not hard to build chemistry with C.J. Stroud. I think it's really easy. Like, this guy has a handshake for every one of his teammates. It's unbelievable. I think C.J. Stroud is really easy to build chemistry with. And so I don't think there would be anything to really worry about. And I do know that our offensive coordinator would be more comfortable in his first year calling the offense, and C.J. Stroud would have himself a great wide receiver who played 12 games last year and had 710 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. I mean, he would have had well over 1,000 receiving yards last season if he played the full season. I mean, so for instance, per game last season, he was averaging 60 yards per game, missed 5 games. He would have went well over 1,000 receiving yards last season if he was fully healthy. In 12 games last year as well, in 2023, 740 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns. 2022, played 9 games, 812 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. Also, one last thing I want to say. People that say, if you're going to say, I don't want him on this team because, he's injured. That's something I'm really not concerned about. To be honest, I'm not concerned about the injuries. I don't care if he misses 5 games in the regular season, because I'll tell you something he's done in each of the last 4 Rams postseasons. It's been healthy in the postseason. This year, played both games for the Rams in the postseason, had 100 receiving yards in their 2 games. Last year, played their one playoff loss against the Lions. Didn't play very well, but he played. 2021. Got the Rams Super Bowl run, played all 4 games, and had 500 receiving yards and 6 receiving touchdowns. Rams 2020, played 1 playoff game. He played in that game. That is something C.J. Stroud has not had outside of Nico Collins, his top wide receiver staying healthy in the playoffs, or at least in the divisional round. Last year, against the Ravens in the divisional round, C.J. Stroud was missing Noah Brown and Tank Dell in the Ravens divisional round loss. This year, against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round, he was missing Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs, but he was missing that the entire playoffs in the Chargers playoff win as well. Cooper Kupp has been a guy who, even if he's not healthy in the regular season, like he's been in the last 2 years, missing 10 games in the last 2 years, he's always made sure he's healthy around playoff time, and I think that is more important if you're the Houston Texans than anything, is being healthy when the playoffs come around, because that is something the Texans have failed to do in the playoff time for C.J. Stroud the last couple of years, is outside of Nico Collins. He's been healthy the last couple of years in the playoffs, but outside of Nico Collins, the other top wide receivers next to Nico Collins staying healthy in the playoffs is something the Texans have not done in C.J. Stroud's 2 postseasons. And I think you can do that with Cooper Kupp because he's literally done that. He's had some injuries in the regular season, but still played a good amount of games, playing 12 games, and been right ready to go in the playoffs, which is right where you want him to be if you're the Texans. I think, to me, I'd rather play. Here's the thing I'll say. I'd rather see a guy play only 12 games in the regular season and miss 5 games in the regular season and be healthy in the postseason and be ready to go to help CJ Stroud than a guy go out there, play 16, 17 games in the regular season and get injured right at the end of the season and not be available in the playoffs. So, and that's what's happened basically the last couple of years. I mean, Tank Dell got injured week 16 against the Chiefs, and he went down right at the end of the year. Stephon Diggs went down in the middle of the year. Tank Dell went down like week 12, week 13 in his rookie season. Noah Brown, when he got injured against the Browns in last year's wild card win against the Browns. So there's been some bad timing injuries for this Texans team with Tank Dell the last couple years, Stephon Diggs. Last year, Tank Dell and Noah Brown, and then this year, Diggs and Dell. Think if you're the Texans, you want CJ Stroud to have the elite wide receivers, which he's had in his career, but have them in the playoffs too. Not just Nico Collins, the other guys that he's had. And that's something he hasn't had. So, and I think you can get that with Cooper Kupp. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out. Go Texans.